welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today we're joined by one of the members of Wilmot, Matt Vodich. Matt, how are we doing on your beautiful Charleston evening?
Good, man. It's this weekend it was like 100 degrees heat index all weekend, and it finally cooled off to I think 90. So we're just enjoying the cooler weather, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's no sleeves weather for sure, and then getting out there, maybe flip flops only.
Yeah, pretty much. Tarps off was definitely debated for the show last weekend, but we kept them on.
I like it. I like it. Well, speaking of which, you've got some new music out. As of this recording, it's 3 days old, but when we release this, it may be a little bit over that. You guys just released Oh Boy. So excited to kind of dive into that. But before we get in there, like formation of this project for you, I mean, is it something that kind of came out of the scene in Charleston, or like where did this come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess to take it back, like in college I'd play and I had like a college cover band, and that's where I think I got used to playing more live music. Honestly, before then I wasn't really playing too much. I was the classic like band kid in high school who then wanted to keep doing music after, but not necessarily stay in like band and keep playing saxophone. So I was like, what can I do? And it was pretty much just pick up a guitar and sing, I guess. And then, so I moved to Charleston 4 years ago, honestly, didn't really have a friend down here. So I just started playing open mics, and met a lot of wonderful people. And that's pretty much how I met my band members. Met one out at a show, met the other actually through work. And we were, as a lot of really good bands start, we kind of started like a little project as a cover band, just getting like used to playing together. And we had a lot of fun, but, we wanted more fulfillment to write our own stuff. And that was always kind of the end goal. So about a year ago, we really dove into it with this Wilmot project. And it all kind of starts like in the room you see right now, my bedroom. We just kind of got together, found our specific sound, and have been kind of shooting from the hip from there.
It's interesting you mentioned like kind of the transition from a cover band to like, hey, getting into this. What are the first steps there? Like, you guys obviously have to continue to do the cover band stuff just to kind of, like you said, get more melded together,
Mm-hmm.
And kind of start understanding each other. But like, where did the transition start for you guys? Was it just like, hey, let's start writing together, or like what would that look like?
Yeah, I think honestly, it was a great starting point just to get that. Yeah, you could say like stage presence, just being comfortable up there. I couldn't imagine a first like big show being not only a performance, but your own vulnerable music. That'd be really tricky. So I'm kind of grateful we had that like start as playing covers around town. But I guess where it started was I'd always been like writing and working some stuff on the side, but luckily I lived with our bassist, Connor Sage. Mm-hmm. And I'd start plugging away in my room and be like, hey, Connor, like, come listen to this. And he'd be like, I think that's something. So it was kind of me eventually opening up and showing these songs that I've been working on to the guys, and they really liked them, and they're all about the vibe we're kind of creating over here. We're definitely on the indie pop side. Neither of them really are huge indie pop guys, but they totally got behind it and really engulfed themselves in that like style of music, and we liked our sound, and that's kind of how it started. We just decided to chase that initial sound I was producing.
I love that. Well, with that, like, we can dive in here to Oh Boy. I mean, I want to start before we, is this a part of a bigger project? Are we going to see an EP, or, is this kind of the beginnings of something here?
Yeah, no, it totally is. The reason, honestly, we were going so back and forth with which one to release first. And, we have 8 songs right now that are very cohesive and are going to be on an album. And we have more than that total, but we have these initial 8 that we're very confident about, that they're all the cohesive same sound. And some of them are harder, some of them are softer, some of them are happy, some are sad. And we just wanted to release the one that encapsulates our sound entirely, and we felt like that was Oh Boy. So we felt like the best introduction, to everyone's ears of Wilmot was Oh Boy. So yeah, we're definitely planning on this to kickstart this project.
I love it. I love it. Well, for this one specific, I mean, where did this one start? Was this a kind of side project after a long night of playing some Leonard Skinner, and you guys were like, you know what, let's get in here and let me get in and get inspired, or like what is it? Where did it come from?
Yeah, honestly, this came from me just plugging away in my room, and more specifically, I bought a synthesizer that I really liked, that just like resonated with me. No pun intended, but it was this synth that I really liked playing, and frankly, it was a very simple it's that intro synth you hear. It's very simple. It's two different synths just kind of like talking over each other. But I was like, ooh, that feels good. And then we kind of threw on just some like standard 80s feeling drums under it. And it was something we thought we could run with and would really be a good backbone for the song. So from there is kind of where it all started. Just that like dreamy, like essentially dream pop kind of a vibe. And we just ran from there.
Well, it's described in Spotify bio. You guys, it's not necessarily, I think, for you're saying, hey, this song's like the representation of how the music's, the band is like buttery guitars. I think is the perfect like analysis of the song. And for everybody listening, you could go stream the song right below, right here in the description, either on YouTube or on Spotify here, and you'll be able to hear what they what we're talking about with these buttery guitars here. But I mean, as you kind of fleshed it out, like what were the things that you started to, as you got the lyrics and you got it started, but when did you bring in Connor, and then obviously y'all's other band member as well, the drummer, what's his name, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah, Jake Wassler.
Jake. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you bring them two in, like, are you going to them with, hey, here's kind of what I've got, like put y'all spin on it, or you're like, hey, I've actually kind of got an idea of what I want, like, what does this look like?
Yeah, a bit of both. I can definitely play bass better than I can drum. I can't really drum at all. So yeah, I had pretty much the whole thing just demoed out. But Connor's a better bassist than me. So I was like, you take it the extra mile. If you think it needs any little bass fills at spots, please go for it. And then for drums, I just had a drum sample I like cut up and put over it. And it was a good starting point, but it felt very robotic, having just like the sampled drums in there. So essentially I recorded everything in my bedroom here except for drums. Connor came in to track bass. I did all the vocals and synths in here, and then we went over to a buddy's house to track the drums, and the live drums. We were going really back and forth about the digital sampled drums versus live drums, and once we put live drums on it, we were like, this really kind of puts the icing on the cake. So yeah, that was the production process on it.
Nice. Well, is that kind of similar for all the, a lot of your tracks is like you kind of come in with the idea, you Connor runs a little bit, you bring in, you have an idea for the drums and you bring it in, and then, have Jake kind of fill it out a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. We it's very common. So Connor and I live together, which is awesome. Our bassist Connor, and then Jake is just down the road, which is great too. But it's normally, that normally is the process. And it's normally around like midnight when Connor's trying to go to bed. And I'm like, dude, like you got to come in here and listen to this thing I just cooked up. Or he'll hear me like, our room's actually, his room is right on the other side of that wall. So he'll hear me like stomping my foot to like keep time when I'm tracking something. And he'll like poke his head in, and we'll normally share it. So yeah, it does all start with me in my room. Just laying down some ideas, and then I kind of get their creative input on it, and it's definitely a very collaborative process. But yeah, it all starts right here.
I love it. Well, I mean, it's got to be convenient to have, if that's the kind of the place, you can kind of capture the magic pretty quickly. For y'all's live set, I mean, like let's talk through that. You mentioned you guys did a gig this past weekend. What were y'all as? Was the gig as Wilmot? Was the gig as somebody else? Like, were y'all going in?
Yeah, it was Wilmot. It was actually it was our first headlining show, which was very exciting. So yeah, we are local to Charleston, South Carolina, and we've been playing. This was our third show at the Royal American. It's an awesome venue. Really, all the indie bands in Charleston are playing it, but we had we had 2 good shows prior, and we asked them, hey, like, if we paired up with a single release, like, could we get the headline slot? And they were like, yeah, bring a lot of people, but yeah, 100%. And we did. The place was packed. Vibes were high. It was hot and sweaty, but wouldn't have it any other way in Charleston this time of year. And we had an absolute blast. But to kind of piggyback off you asking about the live performance, something that does make us different. So when you listen to the song Oh Boy, you'll hear there's a lot of synthesizers and stuff, and there's always that that argument of, oh, everything should be played live, or like, oh, like, is a DJ set acceptable? Can you have some stuff pre-recorded? And being, a dream pop, indie pop band with a lot of those synthesizers and stuff, and a lot of those, extra little nuggets in your music that are kind of hard to recreate live. We do actually play with a backtrack, and, we take pride in that because it kind of makes us limitless. It makes it, it makes a couple extra things to do to set up for a performance. But yeah, we play with the backing track because we want to deliver the most true to our sound you'll hear on Spotify. And it's kind of made us limitless at the same time, which is really fun because, with this little extra beef behind us, we can kind of do anything we want.
Yeah, I mean, I think like there's a lot as people are kind of getting going. Like I think you see the backing track more and more.
Yeah,
just because like again, like it's not going to be like you're going to get a professional synth player to come out there, for a one night deal. Like you want to get give people the experience you want to give them, but with obviously the within the within what you can provide.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, like, it's so hard to coordinate schedules, and the 3 of us are super tight. We're all like best friends, frankly. So to keep it just a 3-piece for us right now, like we have no problem with that. So we like that.
Yeah. You kind of I want to go back to the Royal American and kind of the importance in the scene there. Like,
sure.
Obviously we've spoken to many a Charleston artist, Crab Claw, Brave Baby. We've talked with Wolfie from the Space. I had his sticker on my other note. I was like, and then obviously Danny. I grew up with Danny Martin. I grew up with him from Two Slices, and so like all of those folks, like it seems like the Royal American is kind of a focal point there. Like when you play there, like is it you kind of get the buy-in from the Charleston crowd? Like is that kind of like the validation that anytime people just show up to the Royal American for a show because they know they're curated and they're doing good things there?
Yeah, that is really a big driver to play there. It does generate, it's one of those venues in town that just generates consistent traffic every weekend night. So frankly, like we played with Lemons and Colors and Corduroy, and Lemons saw we had a date booked there, and they were like, hey, everyone we've toured around with says come play the Royal American. It's just really good exposure. There's a consistent group of people going. And it's such a fun venue because it's probably like a 300, 400 person venue, but just the natural setup of it kind of shoves people up front to the stage, which is super nice because there's nothing tougher than you're playing a gig and you're really locked in, but there's that like awkward space between you and the crowd that you can be like, hey, come up, but it's kind of weird when you do that. So the Royal American kind of naturally flows people up to the stage just the way it's constructed, and it creates such a fun night.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. You talking about like taking on that kind of gap. Like I've been to another place, and one of the artists that I've seen, Torres, she like literally got up on stage and like didn't say anything before she even started playing. She just went like this, and like everybody just like walked up, and I was like, wow, that's a good way to handle that. Like, or people, either will, they'll jump in the crowd and they'll, do that experience as well. So like, it's kind of interesting. It's good that it flows people that way. It must be some kind of master design there. Like,
I don't even know if it was an intentional one, but it works so well.
I love that. Well, as you guys are starting to get going, like some of the venues, what's on your list? What cities are on your list? What are some places you want to go to? Maybe somewhere you've never been. Like,
yeah, no, that's a great question. Honestly, we're super happy with the music scene in the Southeast, and right now, I think our priority is definitely keep hitting the music scene in Southeast. So last weekend we got to actually play the Charlotte Whitewater Center as well, which I'm not sure if you've ever seen that place, but it is awesome. It's this venue with this like kayaking river that wraps around the amphitheater. It's a huge outdoor rec center. It's super cool. And we played in Charlotte the other weekend, and then of course Charleston this last weekend. Apart from that, yeah, we're really adamant about checking out the other cities in the Southeast. I know Athens right now is a hot spot. There's so many good bands out of Athens these days. Atlanta, we want to make it to. Jacksonville, of course, the Nashville is always there at some point. Yeah, I feel like those cities right now are the big ones we want to hit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, do you have anybody in Charleston that, kind of some people in other bands that you kind of take advice from to get to those points and like start to like be like, hey, yo, you need to do this route or that route, or like anybody you talk to like pretty consistently about that?
Yeah. So that's that's kind of one of the ideas behind playing a show in Charleston and then having an out of town band join you. Cause then if you play your hometown show, bring a lot of people and they come benefit from it, you hope it, kind of like returns the favor later. So then we hit up XYZ band from Atlanta and we can be like, hey, we had loved the show in Charleston. Can we come join you guys for a bill? So yeah, I think right now we're going to just plan on hopping bills with bands we're familiar with in other cities. Cause that's kind of the easiest way to get a gig other than, just like DMing and calling places like, please let me play, which will definitely be easier now that we have music out, but it's still a bit of a tall task sometimes.
Yeah, I talked with a buddy of mine, Jameson Tank. He does a ton of touring from the band. They're out of Athens, and like he talked about like you have to be able. He said he's got it down kind of to a signs of like one email to a venue, and then it's like, all right, here we go. They get the back and forth, and a lot of the times like where he's booking people that are bar people. They don't want to get on a call and talk about why his band's great and they need to play. It's like, hey,
exactly.
Here's our music. Here's what we've done. Here's some places we packed out. And like, that's kind of the formula. But I mean, that's awesome. You can kind of go and pop in on some bills with some people. I think that's, huge to be able to just, you show up and you can middle or even, start the show for some people. And that really can, build up the hype a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that speaks just to the scene in the Southeast. There are so many awesome bands that are friendly. It's not, where we're at, it's not like overly cutthroat. Everyone wants to see everyone succeed. And you probably can't say that about the music industry in all parts of the country, Yeah,
definitely. That's something I think it's pretty unique to our area here.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you, I mean, I always like to do this little segment here, but I like to ask folks, individually in the bands, like what they appreciate about their other bandmates. So like, what do you appreciate about Connor and Jake, from what they bring to the table from a band perspective, but also just, overall, vibes perspective? Like what's that sound like for you?
Yeah, big time. I'll say an overarching theme first, but I think, first for the whole group, it's the amount of trust in it. And not just trust, but ability to take criticism. Like, I know if I show Jake and Connor a song and they're like, it needs to be like 10 BPM faster or something, then it genuinely does need to be a little faster and it's too slow right now. I think it's really tricky to be in a band to have this like creative baby that everyone's holding a little bit. But I think for us, we all know we trust each other's like expertise with their instrument, and their experience. So I think the biggest quality as a whole for a band is trust, because that's absolutely essential to have a project like this that you care about a lot and you want to see grow. For Jake, specifically, I think his confidence is very important. We play with a click track on some songs, and this is a little specific, but Jake's confidence really allows him to hold great time for us. And as a drummer, especially when we're playing with a backtrack, it's crucial to have really good time. So I think for Jake, his confidence, he's always locked in. He knows he's locked in. For someone who has to like run around and sing and dance on stage, it's nice to know that like our backbone is just super strong, and that's Jake, For Connor, I think Connor's goofiness is probably what's important. We'll be in a practice and Jake and I will be like locked in going back and forth. not arguing, but sorting out a problem. You know what I mean? In a great way. And Connor is kind of the comedic relief sometimes. He's just the joker. And I think that helps us, like we all balance each other out. So I think that's pretty big at the end of the day.
What do you think they say about you?
Oh man. I don't want to know. No, I'm just kidding. I think they like my energy and my passion. Jake is a little bit, when you're drumming, you can't get up from the drums and move around. Connor, being a bassist, bassists don't normally run around too much on stage. So someone has to fill the role of being the nut on stage a little bit. And I like to do that. I think it's fun. So I think they probably like my energy on stage and the passion.
I love it. Well, obviously it's good to hear some good things, about your bandmates. I always like, and when I ask that question, I'm like, look, everyone can ask like, oh, like, who's on the road? Who's sleeping in the most? Who's slowing things down? It's like, no,
yeah.
What is keeping this thing going, and what is keeping the energy and the music coming from Wilmot? And I think that's important to know. So, well, with that, like, I want to get into Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. It'll be 20 questions right in a row. I'm going to give you the up top warning that I don't give a lot of people is last question is a couple of bands that we might not know that we ought to check out. So keep that one in mind as you're going through the food-based portion of the
for sure
the interview here. So Pete Peterson's party pack questions, 20 questions right in a row. Here we go. Cake or pie?
Cake.
There we go. We love it. Salad or soup?
Salad.
All right. Salad, fresh salad. It's a little hot for soup down there in Charleston.
Yeah, exactly.
Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunset. I like to stay up later.
I like it. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Go yard.
Go yard. Love it. Going yickety. Night in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
Nights in. Yeah, nights in for sure.
I like it. All right. When you do go out though, and your band or the DJ plays your jam, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm as a dance move?
I can actually hit the worm pretty well.
Okay, so coming to a stage near you, Wilmot, guaranteed worm entry.
That's a good idea.
Or exit.
Yeah, that's a good. I haven't even thought about that. I think you just came up with our whole marketing scheme.
I love it. The Wilmot Worms. Let's do this thing. Here we go.
That's good.
All right, guac or queso at your local Tex-Mex spot?
Guac. My dad's Mexican, and he has this old family recipe, and it's amazing. So guac.
All right, homemade guac. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Pancakes all day. All right, coffee or tea with your pancakes?
Tea. I actually don't drink caffeine.
Okay.
So I'll do like green tea, but that's it. I'm very, very low caffeine person. I love my chamomile tea, my green tea, mint tea. If you're a person who does vocals, you should really check out Throat Coat. It's this tea that like kind of soothes anything going on here, and I live off it.
All right, big tea guy. Let's go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
All right, we need more dogs. I like it. Ninja or a pirate? What do you identify more with?
Ninja.
Ninja. All right. A coastal ninja. The Charleston ninja.
Right.
Gatorade or Powerade?
Blue Powerade.
All right. Toast or bagels?
Bagels.
Bagelicious. All right. Chips or pretzels?
Chips. Not a pretzels guy.
Not a pretzels. Okay. Fries or tots?
Ooh. You gotta go. If tots are on the menu, you gotta go for the tots, right?
Yeah. You can eat them with a fork, which I think is like, you get them all messy. I think the tots are the way to go. I like it.
Yeah, that's my go-to late night snack. I just toss them in the air fryer, and oh my god.
Love that. TV show or a movie after you get those tots all hot for you?
Probably TV show. We binged I Think You Should Leave as a band, which was an awful idea because it's just like loaded with terrible, stupid jokes that we just don't stop repeating. So
I'm like drawing a blank, and I love that show. I'm drawing a blank because I was really going to just come after you with like 50 different puns from that.
Right. Yeah. They're endless.
Oh man, I didn't do fucking shit. Anyway.
Right.
This isn't
slick back. This is pushback.
Pushback. Used to be a piece of shit. Anyway, are aliens real?
I'm gonna say yes. Yeah.
All right. What about Bigfoot?
No, we would have a video. Let's be real, right?
Yeah. Cameras are too good. Is love at first sight real?
Yes.
All right. All right. Sounds like you might have some experience there.
Yeah, I would get in trouble if I said no. I'll leave it at that.
I like it. All right. Final question. Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Bands that we ought to check out that we might not know. Give me a couple. Give me two.
Sunchild out of Jacksonville. Lemons out of Memphis. And then I'll even give you a third. Hotel Hugo, also out of Charleston. Our drummer drums with them as well, and they are awesome.
All right. So we got Sunchild, Lemons, and Hotel Hugo. You heard it here straight from Wilmot, straight from Matt's mouth. Those are three bands that will be headlining the Grammys in 2028. Mark it down, put it in the calendar.
I'd put my mortgage on it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Matt, we appreciate you, stepping in here to the Indiebnb. Everybody check out their new song that just released, Oh Boy. And oh boy, those guitars are buttery. It's right here, down here in the description. Check it out in all streaming places. We'll have some more. Do we have some more songs coming out later this year? Do we have a good timeline for that?
Yeah, honestly, we need to. Our plan for the next month or two is just to record. So, yeah, we're really hoping EP by the end of summer, and come wintertime, we want an album there. So, to the moon.
Love it. I love it. EP coming, album coming, and coming to a city near you. Keep your alerts on. Just follow them on Bands in Town if you got that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll let you know when they're coming to town.
Yes, sir. Grant, appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you.